So Blue Apron is an organization where they pre-prepare proportioned meals that are delivered right to your door, and they arrive in little frozen packages, so all you have to do is heat them up, and which is similar to Seattle Sutton, but Seattle Sutton gives you 21 meals per week, so they deliver once in the beginning of the week and once in the end, so that you have all those meals ready for you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And NFL Play 60 is a camp where coaches and players teach younger kids about how easy it is to be active and to start them young. And if they're active, they will want to have better nutrition.
So as we're narrowing it down in ways that we can better our nutrition personally, we've narrowed it to the big three ideas, which number one is setting goals. Setting goals can be as simple as eating more fruits and vegetables, drinking more water, and in order to get these goals to where we want them to be, we have keeping records that can be through maps or through apps that Sam is going to be talking about, or just keeping track of what you eat, counting your calories. We don't want to ever get people obsessively counting calories and everything, but if we're counting calories and keeping track of what we're eating for nutritional purposes, then it's healthy. And also changes to diet. So a combination of setting goals and keeping records eventually will lead to permanent changes to your diet in the future.
Our first interview was with Colleen Wagner. She is a retired nutritionist, and the main thing that she told me was the best thing or most important benefit of nutrition is to prevent diseases in the future and in the present. So if you have good nutrition now and you get sick later in life, you will have a faster recovery and a better chance at survival if you're going into surgery or something. And the main problems with nutrition today is time and technology, because the time part is that many people are super busy with their lives, so they turn to convenience foods, which are often fast foods, which are not as healthy for you as a homemade meal would be. And technology too, with cars and planes, trains, all that stuff. People are not walking as much or being active and stuff. So she recommended to me for anyone who would want to better their nutrition now would be to start a gradual change and start planning out their meals week by week instead of, you want to make extra time to plan out meals instead of just eating when you feel hungry. And she also mentioned that the trickle effect will start with their parents, with children's parents, and hopefully will teach them better nutritional ways for them to follow.
Another person we interviewed was Rachel Wood, who was a nutritionist at the Lakeville Hy-Vee, and we asked her what the biggest problem with nutrition nowadays was, and she said in her opinion that it was people didn't know how to eat nutritionally because everything, when you go to the basic supermarkets, everything there is pretty much unhealthy except for the fresh produce and fresh fruits and all this fresh stuff. But another problem she told us that was more threatening throughout the nation was that if we don't start taking initiative in fixing our food production, by the year 2050 we will need to increase our food production by 70% in order to sustain the population. And she said that her suggestion to us and how to fix this was to be having more community gardens throughout. And so if we're making our own food, we're going to be able to have healthier food, which is better for us nutritionally and mentally and physically. And if it'll help us because we won't have to be depending on farmers to make mass amounts of food that's sprayed with toxins and all sorts of stuff. And so we have more control of what's going into our bodies. And then she also talked about the Power 9, which is related to the Blue Zones, and it's just the steps that the Blue Zone people are taking that are related to nutrition and how it's helping them to live such long lives, as the Blue Zones are areas of the world where people are living to over 100 consistently. And then she talked about some low-income budget options on how to eat nutritionally. There are several cookbooks that are free that are online, and they have ways to eat, recipes to use when eating on a budget, and that will also be nutritionally healthy. And she also said to look for the sale days. Hy-Vee has Wednesdays is their sale day, so that everything pretty much that's healthy and nutritional for you is on sale on Wednesdays. So she said to just make sure for that.
And then our final interviewer was at Nicole Sherman at Lifetime Fitness. And when I was interviewing her, she's a very nice woman. And she talks to me all about the conveniency of eating healthy. That's how we could really make nutritional practices a lot better every day, by making it convenient. But she said the problem is that junk food is a lot more convenient than healthy foods. And that's kind of the opposing view of really our whole topic. The opposing view is, well, there is no really way to better our nutrition because it's more convenient to eat, junk food. I mean, how many of you, when you go to a birthday, what do you eat? Birthday cake, right? Or pie if the person's really weird. But, if you go to the state fair, everything deep fried on a stick. It's disgusting. It's like an obesity fair there. But the reason why is because junk food is more convenient. People like it better. You can get it in an instant. We live in a microwave generation. And so that's the problem, and that's the opposing view, saying, well, we don't need to better our nutritional practices if we can just get a microwave hot pocket on the weekend or on a Friday when we get back from work. But the problem with that, and the reason why there's this opposing view, is because of industries. Their goal is to make money, and we shouldn't be mad at them. I'm not mad at them. I like the idea of making money, and that's what companies' goal is. They should be making money, and the way they do it is making food convenient. They make it look better for you. They kind of trick you with all these 100% fiber, but then when you actually look at the ingredients, it's disgusting ingredients, such as all this other acids and all this other kinds of sugar that are in the food. So the problem is that industries want to make money, and the way they can make the most money is by selling convenient foods. And unfortunately, it's junk food. It's disgusting. But the way we can improve that, the way we can solve that, and kind of deter the opposing viewpoint, is by getting farmer market, involving the community, making foods more natural, and that's a way that other people can make money. Farmers markets, community gardens. There's a community garden. Is there one in Apple Valley, right? There's one in Apple Valley. And unfortunately, it's a short line of people, but the way we can do it is by getting more local, getting fresh from, fruits and crops, and even getting industries to promote healthier foods. So that's really what the whole interview summed up to. And then mobile apps that can help solve this problem is something called MyPlate. I'm sure some of you heard of MyPlate. And what that does is it tracks the food that you eat. Now, a lot of people can't really track the food what they eat. And you'd be surprised by, if you use this app, how much calories you intake every day. So it helps you keep track of what you eat. And then there's another app, very similar, called Calorie Counter and Diet Tracker. Now, the difference between that and MyPlate is actually even tracks your exercise and your fitness. So not only does it track, how much food you consume on a birthday weekend or, at a friend's house, but it also consumes how much you work out and how much of that fat you kind of burn off. And then there's a video.
We're gonna
Skip
skip
that.
that to the end.
Yeah.
So our first slide of determinants is that food availability is just children choose to eat foods that they're served most often in their houses, and they choose to eat what is more readily available in their houses. So if we have our kids eating like food that's just like snack bags, it's not very healthy, and it's not going to promote other future generations to have good nutritional practices. And another determinant is that higher parental education has been associated with more health-conscious choices. And then another one is that children tend to eat larger quantities, and people overall are eating larger quantities when larger quantities are provided. And so, just making quantities smaller in order to help people eat less. The rest of the determinants are 10 daily exposures to an unfamiliar vegetable was associated with a significant increase in a child's liking and consumption of the vegetable. So just trying to make the younger generations more accustomed to seeing and eating vegetables is a big step in making future generations eat healthier. And then eating out has been associated with a higher intake of dietary fat and calories compared to eating at home. So again, eating out, it's not as healthy as eating at your house and making your own meal.
factors is eating out and consuming large portions of food. With eating out, you can get, have a meal and you can have appetizers and all that, and that can add like 500 calories before your actual meal. And consuming large portions, if you eat more, then you're not going to enjoy it